Student Blogger of the Year. I'm here today with Safi, who has been nominated as Student Tenant of the Year. If you didn't know already, Safi works with me at Newcastle University, so it's really cool that I get to interview them today. And we are here to chat a little bit more about them and find out more about the recent campaign, which is called Beyond the Binary, and it focuses on marginalised genders and lesser known gender identities. So, hello Safi.
Hello, you're right.
Thanks for being here today. It's great. Yeah, Saffron, please just tell us a little bit about where it all started for you this year.
Well, basically, I didn't expect things to be this big, to get this national. It started off when I wrote an article for the Tab entitled 224,000 of us in the UK, I'm non-binary, this is my story, kind of thing, in which I talked about my personal experience of not identifying with the binary of male or female, and I was really chuffed with the reception that it had. It got thousands of shares, it got national attention, and from that, the BBC, the Guardian, BBC Three, things like that, they all contacted me asking for, like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, me, little old me. So yeah, it was just from that, from the beginning, and then that inspired me to, because I had that platform on which I could speak for others who feel that they may not be able to speak. I wanted to do my campaign Beyond the Binary.
Yeah. And you'd also started off by doing a few YouTube videos and things like that, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been doing YouTube videos since I was, this is embarrassing, since I was like 10 or 11.
Oh my goodness, that early
yeah.
on?
Oh yeah, it spanned over 2 different channels, and a few years ago I started talking more about issues of gender and how I felt inside my own body, and I wrote a spoken word poem called Are You a Boy or a Girl, and that surprisingly went like viral. It's got a few thousand views on YouTube, and in that video I got all of my friends who are also non-binary and supporters of people who are to get involved as well, and it was like a big, people from all over the world are in the video, and it was really good. Yeah, and like that, things like that I do. I've done videos on Orlando, and just things like that. Yeah, like so YouTube as well is really.
You've always been a creative person then, anyway.
Well.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit more about the actual campaign? Sort of what did you do during the week and things like that?
Basically, so the campaign Beyond the Binary, I did it through my role as Marginalised Genders Officer, which is a part-time voluntary position I hold in Newcastle University Students' Union. And the aim of the campaign was to essentially just get the word out there that non-binary genders do exist. There are more than 2 genders, and those who don't feel comfortable with the words male and female, they don't have to assign themselves to that. They shouldn't feel the pressure by society, because that's what it is. It's a pressure by society to be in the gender binary. So that was the central aim of the campaign. And throughout the week, I was interviewed by the Chronicle during the week about the campaign. I led sessions. We had sort of arts and crafts like zine workshops with free tea and coffee. Oh yes, nice. Never a bad thing. We had a cartoon marathon of Steven Universe, which is a really progressive cartoon. It's got non-binary, gender-fluid characters in it. We had a talk by the Feminist Society President, Foppe, and they talked about the intersections between being non-binary and being a person of colour. And then the week ended with a celebration in Luther's, which is the bar in the Union, where myself and another student did some spoken word poetry, and there was free food. And all events were really well attended, and also culminating the week, I was able to open 2 all-gender bathrooms in the Robinson Library, so that anyone who doesn't feel safe or comfortable in a gender bathroom, they don't have to worry about that, you know, they don't have to be questioned.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a really, really fun week.
Did you expect it to sort of take off as much as it did?
No, because I thought that it would just, because usually campaigns like that, it's just the people who attend are those who identify, yeah, exactly, but like people who I'd never seen before. This guy who did mechanical engineering and he didn't know what non-binary was, he came and he made a zine, like he made a little mini magazine for it, and it was like seeing people who I'd never seen before, like listen and talk about it, that was really promising.
Yeah. That's special. Could you tell us a little bit more about your role as Marginalised Genders Officer within the union?
Yeah, so basically last year the role title was changed from Gender Equality Officer to Marginalised Genders Officer. That was by our old Marginalised Genders Officer Lucy Morgan, and she did that because she wanted it to be a more all-encompassing role for people who don't identify as male or female, and it's about representing and validating those people who are women, who are trans, who are non-binary, and who don't feel like they are represented enough in the university campus. So the job entails like attending student council and attending several meetings across the university and the union. But the good thing about the role is because it's voluntary, we do with it what we feel we are able to do with it. We have quite a good free rein. But I honestly didn't expect this much spotlighting to come from all these articles that I've done, and I think that's really good, because people hearing the words marginalised genders in there, they're not just thinking, oh well, women. You know, they're thinking women and trans people and non-binary people. So I'm really glad that the role exists, and it will continue to exist hopefully. But yeah, it's just about representing, validating, supporting those students.
And since sort of starting that and starting your role, have you found that more people have maybe come forward and said, you know what, I don't actually identify as this gender, or I didn't know this existed, but I sort of feel that way too? Do you think it is raising awareness?
I think it is, and like I don't think it's obvious, if you know what I mean, because it's quite a delicate issue for a lot of people. A lot of people, if they haven't heard of it, or if they maybe live in or are surrounded by hostile people who won't understand it, then they're going to be scared to question, like, well, am I a man or am I a woman? I don't feel like either. Because people have messaged me privately asking for advice, and I've signposted them to local charities such as Be North, which is a transgender and non-binary support organisation. And people have approached me and said, thank you for the work you've done, because I feel like we do exist. And that was one of the hashtags for the campaign. If it was hashtag we exist, then we do. Like, no matter how many people invalidate us and put us down, we're here. Like, you can't say you can't exist on it. Hello, I'm right
You're not
here.
invisible.
But yeah, I think that it definitely, I hope that it helped, got the word out there.
Yeah, it sounds like it is. Could you tell us a little bit about growing up in Wakefield and how you found that, and did you come across any obstacles, or is it quite an accepting place? What do you think?
I mean, I can't really say bad things about it because obviously, I was raised there and I went to school there and stuff, but I think that it's a good example of how hostile secondary school can be for students who don't feel like they belong in the gender that they were assigned. So I was what you would call a tomboy. This is just my personal experience, and everyone has it differently. But I was a tomboy, so I had my hair cut short straight from the beginning. I'd wear like boys' clothes and things like that. But I was actually head girl when I was in high school as well, so it's a bit strange looking back on it now.
A past life.
Yeah, it was a past life. But I think that it was hard. I mean, I was picked on, I was bullied for not fitting in, and I think that a lot of people get that. It can get to the point where it's violent and brutal and stuff, and people don't want to go into school anymore. It's just, I'm glad that the school that I went to was brilliant. It's just, I think that there's a lot of, I don't want to say ignorance, but people just don't know about us, and people who were straight and I was a girl. It was only really when I came to university that I began questioning things, because I'd learn new terms, and I'd start Googling things and being more curious and feeling more comfortable in opening up. So yeah, like, it's only really till I came out as non-binary 2 years ago, and I came out as a pansexual like 3-4 years ago, I think so. It's been like, it's not really that long in the grand scheme of things. But yeah.
What do you think, well, I know personally from where I'm from in Northern Ireland as well, if I was to mention these terms, nobody would have any idea what they meant. What do you think can be done about just kind of creating awareness? Like, if an individual came to you and said, I want to create awareness about it, how could I go about it in my daily life? Do you have any sort of tips, or do you think it's just about talking about it, really?
I think that that's a really good starting point. I think that's and people talking about it who don't identify as that as well, people who feel comfortable with the binary gender that they were assigned, they need to show support, and they need to show solidarity with those people who may be considered more vulnerable in society. And it's about talking and saying those key terms, and people come to me and ask me questions, and that's, I'm happy to answer them, but Also, Google is free. You know, so it's just about people speaking out and not being scared to say that, but at the same time, you know, I'm in a position of privilege where, you know, I'm in a student community, but people who might be in smaller communities, it can be quite dangerous to speak out about it. So those people who, like myself, I'm in a position where I feel safe talking about it. People like me and other people in positions of power need to speak out and need to talk about it and say these people do exist and we need to support them in any way that we can.
Yeah. So it's about sort of supporting those that actually identify as something maybe different from yourself.
Yeah.
How on earth have you managed to fit in all this campaigning and stuff around your studies? We were speaking earlier, you're doing your dissertation at the minute. How have you found the time?
Caffeine. I was talking about this earlier as well, and I think that in final year, because you know final year is a stressful year, and I needed to learn to say no to some things, and I wanted to focus solely on the marginalised genders role, and do everything that I could within that. But I can't really answer that question because I don't even. I mean, I'm doing all right at uni, like.
You're just getting by.
I'm just getting by by skin of my teeth.
So well done for that. But, you've also been doing like a digital media internship here. So what do you do in that?
So that was the position that I had an internship over the summer, and I carried that on until January. But then that was something that I had to, because it was my final year. I had to be like, I need
enough is enough.
I love that job though. The job was brilliant. It was essentially making videos for the Science, Agriculture and Engineering department, and that's what I want to do when I graduate. And there's actually a graduate ambassador role going, so I'm going to apply for that and hope for the best.
Amazing.
But that job was so good, just using Photoshop, using Adobe Premiere Pro, film production, post-production, that's what I want to do. And that's what I do in my spare time, it's what I enjoy, it's what I did in my dissertation. I did a short film for my dissertation.
Well, you have to love what you're doing for your dissertation, don't you?
Yeah,
otherwise it's
soul destroying.
I know. How do you think that landlords and the student housing industry in general can be more aware of people that identify as like alternative genders and things like that? What do you think can be done?
Well, like I think that I'm really pleased that Easiliving came out and like reached out to me and asked, you know, and recognised me for what I was doing. That recognition is really important because it's like when the university recognised me as well. It's like you're validating that by taking that action. You're validating that, and even like small things like forms. Like when there's 2 tick boxes, like for your gender, maybe have a few more tick boxes, or maybe have somewhere where you can write it out. Maybe even have somewhere where you can put your preferred pronouns, because not everybody uses he or she, and it's, you know, it's difficult. It's difficult to remember that, but just allowing that space, allowing just in small things like that, that can make a huge difference and can make people feel so much more comfortable. Because it might seem like a negligible thing not being able to tick male or female, but it's so life affirming when you are able to put who you are as a person, and just like even just continue making steps like reaching out to people like me and like in other universities and just asking how can we help, what can we do.
Yeah, because sometimes it's not about the big gestures, is it? It's the little ones that obviously contribute as well.
Yeah.
So you spoke a little bit about what you want to do after you graduate. Is there anything in mind apart from the graduate ambassador role?
There's that. But I'm also looking into masters as well. So there's a film theory and practice degree at Newcastle, and there's also a creative arts masters as well. And that's just me being able to further explore what I already enjoy. So filmmaking, screenwriting, and there's some sort of experimental bits in there as well, arty-farty things. So yeah, I'm looking into both of those, but it's a competitive industry as media, so I think I'll probably go with the masters so I can stay in education for another year.
Well, I think you've got a lot behind you. You've done a lot in your spare time, so you should be okay.
Rest now.
And Saffron, thank you so much for coming in today. Your time has been great, and we've learned a lot. We're just really proud here at Easiliving to have Saffron as one of our tenants. They're amazing, and as you can tell, they're so lovely. So if you want to ask Saffron any questions, I'm sure they'd be more than happy to answer them. So hit us up, and yeah, proud. Thank you so much.